Good Morning Britain descended into chaos on Tuesday morning as host Susanna Reid engaged in a fiery row with Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson. The ITV star and her co-host Ed Balls challenged the minister on the latest comments from Sir Keir Starmer as he condemned pro-Palestine protests planned for today to mark the 2-year anniversary of the October 7 attacks and has called them un-British. As Susanna asked the ITV show's guests about the comments, the pair shouted over each other as they had opposing views. In a fiery rant, the presenter asked, "Is it not possible to have compassion for the Jewish community, and all that they have suffered, and also be entitled to exercise a legitimate and lawful right to protest what the Israeli government is doing in Gaza? Are you suggesting that protesting against Israel, in itself, is anti-Semitic?" Ms. Phillipson sternly replied, "No," before adding that the right to protest is a fundamental right which we all benefit from and said that it is a cornerstone of our democracy. However, she then continued to say that just because you have the right to protest does not mean that you should protest every day, especially on days like this. Susanna also asked what it is that makes the pro-Palestine protests un-British. Ms. Phillipson responded to say that our British values are respect for one another and would urge people taking part in protests today to question whether or not they really need to do that today, of all days. She added, "Do you really have to do that today of all days? There are 364 other days in the year where you can protest." Susanna hit back saying that it is possible to do two things at the same time as the pair began to shout over each other. Fans of the ITV show were fuming this morning as Keir Starmer's latest comments were discussed. The Prime Minister repeated his calls for a two-state solution, the release of the remaining hostages, and for more aid to be allowed into Gaza and, writing in The Times, also said that the UK is indifferent about anti-Semitism. But fans of GMB hit back at the PM's comments as they branded him out of touch. On X/Twitter, one fan wrote, "Starmer is so out of touch, so ineffective as a Prime Minister that it's embarrassing. Another 4 years of this and the country will be beyond salvation." Another fumed, "Is that the best Starmer can come out with? Un-British. What an absolute plonker of a Prime Minister. Ban the marches for God's sake or do something a bit more proactive than sitting on your hands." One more said, "If this is un-British, then so was every anti-apartheid, anti-war, and civil rights march we've ever had. Jog on," while someone else added, "It's not un-British to protest about genocide."